not every time someone will have the time and availability to go and actually sit with a broker and to sit with someone to advise them. So it's always good to invest a little time in yourself to learn these things. Now, most people question, I get all the time is, well, I have no money to invest. I have no time to invest. Time is very funny that priority is what people give, and you have time for anything you prioritize on. And when it comes to money, I don't have money to invest. And I always look back at certain experience I had in my life, and I always used to look at the 1%. And then I had a time I had a conversation, and someone was saying, oh, the 1% is this and the 1% was that. And they always taking money from the poor men and stuff like that. And all this different approach. And I was like, I asked a question and I said, how long are you working? And he said, maybe roughly about 30 years. And I said, so you're going to retirement in maybe next 10 years, 20 years, for example. And they said, yes. I said, now, look back at the first time you have ever worked in your life. The first time you've ever worked and earned, if it's $1 self. I said, check that first earnings down to the present earnings and how much money has passed through your hands in that space of 30 years. There's a little awkward silence because you have to kind of calculate what is really happening. And then it's try to calculate how much money actually passed through your hands. And when you look at it, you realize, wow, some people had millions passing through their hands. And the question is now, how much of that money you have invested? And there's a next awkward silence again. How much money have you invested? I say now the 1%, the difference is that they start off the same way, very small, and they grow, but they invest. And the individual, and he understand what I'm saying, but it's like, but I don't know how to invest. He have no money to invest, but a lot of money passed through his hand. And that was a worker who worked offshore in the oil industry with me. And they are elderly, and I'm just speaking finance talk with them a few years ago, and you get to realize a lot of money passed through your hands. So first thing, in investment, you want to have risk-free money. And I want to just explain a little bit about the 5-jar concept before we go into what type of investments we could use. But you need to get money to invest. And there are 5-jar concepts the Jewish system use, and many people here may have known of it, and some may not know of it. And it's basically taking every cent you earn and place it in 5 jars. Now, what are the 5 jars? The 5 jars are basically 5 different bank accounts. It could be credit unions, it could be unit trust, it could be any type of investment firm. And what most average citizens do, they have one account that everything goes into. And from there, they spend and do whatever they have to do. The concept is that if you earn $1, if you earn just $1 for the day working, you need to split that into the 5 jars. Myself, I have 5 over 5 plus accounts in the sense of different bank accounts, unit trusts, credit unions, different stuff. You don't want to have everything in the same place. So when you do receive some type of earnings, you split that into 5 jars. You have charity and tithing, that's a 10%. You have a $1, you put a 10% of that into charity and tithing. It's always good to give an offering, etc. Help someone. Expense, you have expense, and you have to be 10% of that dollar. I'm using an example here now of $1 you have earned. 10% of that dollar is your expense. Now, it also helps you not to hang your hat too high, because sometimes people just go spending and doing different things, and they take too much bills upon their hands. And before you know it, they really do not have much money remaining. So to really bring you to a place where you can cap you and understand that, hey, there's only so much money I have, that's it. 10% for expense, 10% for savings, because you want to save, and then 20% for investments. That jar is the most important jar, because the economy always goes in a cycle, and that cycle, every 10 years, wherever it may be, they always have that reset. And then what was selling for $1 can be sold for a penny. And guess what? You have invested money. Most of the times you will miss opportunities in life because you don't have investment money. How much times you hear someone say, hey, you have a good deal, you have a good land, selling somewhere in Shogunas and it's about 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. You have a good deal somewhere about a building or a house. And he's like, that'd be a nice investment to make. Or maybe I should buy a nice piece of land, but I don't have the money. That investment jar, create an account and your salary, take 20% of that and place it in an investment jar. So every time opportunity arise, you have the funds to invest. And then you have 50% after to spend. You have spending, you can do what? Not clamping you down to say you're going to invest everything. You could have spending for vacations, family time, etc. So the 5-jar concept helped me a lot because every single, if I got a $2, I got $1,000 in my hand. I place that into 5 jars. I remember someone told me that, Jason, I want to buy something and I was going to actually purchase that car. There's a car I really wanted to purchase at that time. And I look at expense because I don't see cars or anything more like a liability. So I said, bro, I can't afford that right now. So he's like, you making little money. I mean, you can't afford that right now. I said, because my expense jar is not telling me I can afford it right now. I'm not going to dip in the savings jar and investment jar and spending jar and charity jar to purchase a car. No. So it's a whole concept right there and understanding how to actually generate investment money. Risk-free money, but it's also investment money, and you always have it sometime in your life when the opportunity do arise. Yes, you can get it. So you have investment money. What do you want to invest in? Most people invest in stocks, invest in bonds. Some invest in funds, investment funds, options, annuities, because pension is also some type of investment. And these type of investment, all these investments, basically you can actually visualize online through the Forex market. You can know when the stocks are rising, you can understand the bonds or the yields, what are happening with it, mutual funds, investments, and hedge funds. All these things you can actually see what is happening online without a broker actually telling you that, hey, you need to do this and do that. And options also is a part of Forex trading. Annuity also, you can see where you're actually placing those pensions investment into. So I created something for myself, which is something called online farming. And online farming is not like you're just doing farming agriculture. I got a concept from planting. I was home and I just started to have a little kitchen garden. Now I see the benefits of it. You can just go in the back, pick some peppers, pick some lettuce, celeries, etc. And it's very affordable in the sense of I don't have to be buying every single week. And it's convenient also. And right there, I say, you know what? I need to set up an online farm. I need to invest in different things, diversify, and have multiple portfolios. And I started with the currency, and that is the Forex market. I understand what currencies. Then I went into the crypto, understanding the crypto space. Then it's very easy to understand stocks. Now, you might say, where I'm getting all this information from? It's right there in our OneAcademy. One education is right there. You have to learn. We can also teach you and help you understand. Then we have the metals like the gold and silver and stuff like that. They have energy. So all these things you can invest in. And I'll just go to the charts quickly and give you an idea of how to invest. And we spoke about last week, buy low and you actually sell high. You have buy and hold. You have different type of strategies, which is trading, buying and selling the currencies. Then you can go on the exchange and also trade, but that's only one direction, which is actually a bullish direction you can actually use. So the brokers will give you different types. They have currencies, they have shares. So you can actually go and purchase shares. They have Amazon, Google, American Airlines. All these shares is right here. You can actually go into it and know when to buy. When IBM is there also too. JPM, a lot of different shares you can actually spot. Now we have the energies, which is actually Brent, the crude oil, the natural gas, etc. And then we have bonds. We have the bonds. We have some of the indices, index, and then we have cryptocurrencies. So one niche, but you can now expand into multiple portfolios and then trade. And you could trade stocks, you could trade on the platform, or you could actually trade purchasing and holding. And it's very important when you get the education and you actually self on your own, you can actually have that empowerment to trade and just be confident with what you are doing. No, it's not that difficult. I will assure you it's not difficult. And I'm just going to run through some of this stuff. For last week, we spoke about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, if you remember, it was at a certain low. And I said it's going to go back up into a buy. And right here, we had that dip. So everyone was actually, it had that sell, and it was roughly about 41,000. It came down with a little sell, and that way it could make money from there. And we actually knew that to buy. We bought right. I bought another set of Bitcoin right around this area here, which is actually around 30. And as I said before, the templates we use, very simple, which you can actually give you that buy, the bullish movement. If it's a sell, you know when to get out of the trade, or if you could actually sell your assets, if you want to hold it, which is the Bitcoin itself, and then you move into a bullish movement, you continue. This movement here, you put $100, you're going to get a nice profit in that short space of time. In stocks, currencies, you can quickly go to American Airlines. So I already had the EA. So the thing is about these stocks and some of the investment, right now we're in a pandemic. So you always want to find a problem. Once you can find a problem and find a solution, you'll be real nice in investments. And right now you have a problem with the airlines. Due to the pandemic, all airlines, stocks, and the shares are dropping. Just continue to drop because no one is actually flying. Now, is that a problem for some? Yes. It is an opportunity for myself and many others. Correct. It is opportunity because it's going down. And that shares is keep on dropping. The stock price will also keep on dropping. Now, what will happen when the pandemic is basically neutralized and we come into a place where it's like, okay, we can start to travel again and airlines start to continue their normal everyday movement. Stocks will start to increase, shares will increase, and then we have profits. Now is the time you'll be looking at these things. But many people can miss it because they do not know how to invest and how to acquire investment money. This right here is an opportunity I'm sure is sharing with you based on all those airlines, their stocks and their shares. It is pretty low as an opportunity to buy now. Take some cash, investment cash you spoke about. You get a salary any month, take some of that, put it away in your investment account. When the time is ready, you can actually buy these shares. When you purchase these things in the next year, next 2 years, maybe when the kids are actually of age, it's real good. Opportunities are always there around. I really don't want people to miss it. I really want you to have the money also when it do actually comes to you in front of you and can actually take that in a snap. So that is one with the shares. Then we have oil. I mean, we're not really much on the oil, but right now, I'll give you a next commodity you could invest in. We go to the energy sector. So go to the Brent. So right now, I'm not really into the oil. It's slowly climbing because it has broken a major resistance and support. And all these things I'm speaking here, you might think that, okay, so Jason, how do you know these things? And I did a couple of Zooms already showing that gap need to be filled. And this is the gap here, and the market refused to break the gap. Now it has broken. So oil is on the rise. Just because it broke here, it's on the rise. So in time, it will actually continue to press hopefully it could go up to, I'm not sure how far. If you look at the support resistance, it have these prices, which are about $73 a barrel, roughly around there. That could be a place it could actually continue to rise. But right now, a good place to invest with future energy is lithium. That's what they make the batteries. And then we have a future with the electric cars. So understanding lithium, trying to get your hands, in or your knowledge into that space where you can buy, where you can hold, you can get some shares. That is also a nice area you can invest in. So this is a short topic just about the investments. And I encourage you all to continue to keep your eyes open. First of all, I mentioned that if you don't have the investment money, I show you a way with the 5-year process, how you can actually attain that. And from there, keep your eyes open and just wait for the opportunity. And once that is there, you take it, and your life can be changed in a few years, sometime within a few weeks, sometime within a few months. Right? So we thank you all for listening, and I will just pass it back to Mr. Noel. Maybe we might have some questions after. Let's see how it goes from there. So thank you very much.
Okay, great, very comprehensive, simple, precise, clinical presentation, Mr. Bramble. Thank you very much. We have on the line several of our panelists and participants that can weigh in and asking questions relevant to the topic of investment. Jason spoke of the 5 Jack concept, charity, tighten, expensive, savings, investment. The most important part, he said, and spending. So you may have some questions surrounding the 5 Jack concept, or you may have questions surrounding the investment in particular, with stocks, bonds, investment funds, options, annuity, and even the online farming. So let's get some feedback. Let's get some participation. Our panelists, some of the most experienced people in One Life right now in Trinidad and the Caribbean. We have Mr. Ivan, Mark,
yes,
and Michelle Mark. We have also others that can weigh in, right? Ms. Muriel, Edwin, and so on. So we are taking some feedback, questions, comments from the panelists and also from the participants. So anyone can shoot right now.
yes, thank you so much, Noel. And
Thank
again,
you.
thank you so much. Hats off to Jason for that fantastic presentation. And I believe it is something that is needed at this present time. Why? Because unlike what we thought, this pandemic will be with us for some time. The question I have for you is that what are you going to do to fill that space? You heard Jason said that he was in the energy sector for a period of time. And would you believe he was offered a package? Now, he isn't the only one that happened to. There were many other people who I believe he tried to get involved in for them to diversify their skills. And I think they didn't really take him up on it. And now a couple of those persons are actually coming back to him, realizing, as we say in Trinidad and Tobago, water more than flour. And what can they do in a circumstance like this? And my question to you is that, what do you do in circumstances like this? He said that he also started a kitchen garden. So he looked at ways to cut his expenses and have some sort of longevity. Many times, especially we in the Caribbean, and I always say we in the Caribbean, we always wait until the well is totally empty. We are very thirsty before we start to dig, and we see the sun is shining so brightly. There are no clouds in the sky to give us water, and yet we wait until we have absolutely no choice. I want to really get to tell you about this OneAcademy. Jason made mention that he saw a lot of this in our OneAcademy packages that we have. And that is how he got involved with that online farming, which is a fantastic idea for you to diversify your portfolio. It is needed now. He mentioned also about lithium. Of course, lithium is that new crave that is going on right now. Why? Because everyone is going electric, and it is a big industry that will only get bigger because of the migration from fossil fuels to cleaner, more sustainable energy, right? Renewable energy, they call it. So these are some of the things that we wanted to highlight tonight. The One Academy, of course, will give you that value. We are taking it to a different level because it's not just about the information, but what to do with that information. We are finding it very, very daunting that many people have this information at their fingertips in their manuals and they haven't done little or nothing at all within this period of time. So the questions, yes, I know that many people may have certain questions for Jason. I want you to take full advantage of it tonight and ask him some of the more daunting questions that you may have so that he could give a little bit of clarification because he went through a lot in a short space of time and many things that you were probably even thinking about he mentioned. All right, I love the 5 jar concept because again it makes it easy if we put everything in compartments so that we know exactly where we are going for our spending, we know exactly where we are going for our investments. There's no second guess, there's no borrowing. You know that something you may have a get an opportunity to purchase a vehicle as he said, and you don't have the money to take up that person on that fantastic deal. You may have land coming to you, but you cannot take it up because you do not have the money to make it happen. And when they say it takes money to make money, yes, in a lot of circumstances, that is true. But many times we don't have the money, so we lose out on many opportunities. I want to take, and as we say, money, I want to invite our next diamond, Mr. Edwin Wilson. If he has any observations or if any comments at all that he could give to the audience or want to ask Jason any questions. Mr. Edwin?
Good night, everyone. Ivan, you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
And as usual, well done, Jason. Expertly done and presented so simple that the average person could understand, like me. And I so much like the jar concept. Um, I never did it 100%, but I came very close. And I know the people I told about it also had some benefits from it. And interestingly, that same scenario about opportunities coming your way and you don't have the money to execute on those deals. I went through that more than once.
Many times.
Many times, just to make sure it hurt and for it not to happen again. And eventually, because of One Life and the opportunity, I was able to capitalize on some deals. But it felt so good knowing where you were with missing out on deals and then being able to capitalize on one or two. So song advice from Jason, and I really want to encourage everyone to take heed. Over to you, Ivan.
Yeah, thank you so much, Edwin. I know that presentation would have really hit you, you know, in a certain place because we always speak. And if it's one thing you always say is that many times you missed out on opportunities, but the One Life concept actually helped you to capitalize on opportunities that you never saw coming. And it is always great to hear that testimony. We have, of course, well, we have Muriel. I don't know if Muriel is by her mic, that if she could add anything, or I know she's usually pretty busy. Once, twice.
Hi. Good night, Ivan. Again, some words of wisdom shared with Mr. Bramble and by Mr. Bramble. And I know you may not have the time, but I would like to really get some more insights into his online farming. And with the advent of what has happened with the Bitcoin and with Tesla deciding to make that $1 billion investment, it caused it to skyrocket. And a lot of people now, quote unquote, running to get into purchasing Bitcoins at this point in time. What is your take on that? I mean, we subscribe to the usability, but we're talking investment here in terms of Bitcoin. What are your thoughts in terms of people looking to buy at this point in time when the price seems to be on the up and up?
Thanks, Muriel. I think my screen is sharing, right?
Yes.
Right. So in purchasing Bitcoin at this present time, there are two different options you can actually. Let me get Bitcoin here. Right. So there's two options. If you go to buy it on the exchange right now, which is a buy and hold, going to one of the sites, CXIO, one of the different exchange sites. What will happen if you buy if any retracement, you cannot sell on that retracement because on an exchange you only have one directional, which is actually a bullish direction. So you can buy and you hold and you leave it. There's nothing wrong in buying it right now because guess what? Over the years, when I say over the years, I'm looking at way around 2013 when Bitcoin was about $300 for one. Some people say, nah, too expensive. It continue again, and then it reached like 1,300, 1,500, and then it's like, it's too expensive. And they just keep seeing the same thing over and over until it had that spike. When it hit 15, it was about 1,700, 17,000, sorry. And from there, it was like, wow, it was still too expensive. Now, many people didn't have that restrained money to really put into the Bitcoin. And if they buy and hold and waited for a little time, watch where it was right after. Now, you might be surprised. Most of these investors, you're talking about PayPal, even some of the big entrepreneurs in the world, a lot of different companies, they're actually buying, especially banks, they are buying into Bitcoin.
Elon.
Yes, Elon.
Musk.
Right, Musk, yeah. Also, a lot of money into the Bitcoin. I have many others in between actually invested in Bitcoin. I have only few that actually have a lot of Bitcoin. Now, I may have a fraction or 1 Bitcoin and 2 Bitcoin. That is not much Bitcoin compared to those who have like hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin holding in their hands. What will happen, if you remember any time of Facebook, the social media, it had one called MySpace. And MySpace, then it had like Black Planet and some of the different social media platforms. Today, none of those are there today. Now it's Facebook. And Bitcoin will reach that place where it will actually reach to that value where it's so high, no one can buy it again. If we have value of a current commodity for storage. So I will say yes, you can still buy it at this price. You have to wait. There will be a better price to buy it when it was lower down. But what I will advise some people to do is simple. You buy it on the exchange and you hold it. When it have a retracement coming down,
after
you buy,
say something.
Yeah, whenever retracement coming down, you buy again. So now you have a position up here. Then you have a position lower when it retreats. And then if you're trading now, you could actually take a position on the sell when it's actually retracing. So it's never too late to actually invest into Bitcoin because it's seen as 48,000 now. Most people will say, nah, that's too expensive, it's too high. But it's true to a point. Give it 2 years again, you'll be 100,000. And then what you will see.
Correct.
Always keep going up and
because
up.
There are only 21 million Bitcoins. That's the thing.
Yes, there's only so much.
There's
only so much. And eventually, when it max out and it caps out, you have no Bitcoin to buy anyway. The only Bitcoin you'll be getting is ones who doing some little trading here and there. Small retailers doing some little trading. But they reach a place where that's it. It cannot get any again. And your next set that is going to release, that is in next 20 years or how long it is from now, that's the only
supposing
a few
that's 14
millions.
years.
Yeah, that's all they have. So if you're going to live to see it, I don't know. But I always say Bitcoins are a really good investment for your children, for future type of investment. And do not despise it. However, I would always encourage someone, look at the altcoins. You have many other coins that could surpass Bitcoin. I use the example of the MySpace as the first type of social media. And we had like Yahoo Messenger and MSN Messenger. How much are you right now use Yahoo Messenger and MSN Messenger? You understand? And now is WhatsApp. And then we have Telegram, and then we have now Zoom. In the past was Skype and stuff like that. So
we have Signal now coming.
Right. So it have other coins that could come and surpass Bitcoin in value. And again, now is the opportunity now. Get investment money, put it there, save it. When the opportunity arises, you take it. I buy Bitcoin. I'll keep on buying Bitcoin because right now I believe it's very low. And that could shoot to 100,000, 500,000. And in just this year, and what I'm seeing really is just to cap out here, in 2020, right here, Bitcoin was $7,000 in 1 year.
Yep. I remember when it was 6,000, 6,000, 26. Yep.
1 year. 1 year. Now it's over $48,000. So don't be afraid. Risk is good. You take it. And let's ride that wave until. Yeah.
Thank you.
Serious. Thank you so much, Jason. I think what Muriel, I want to actually add a second part to that question, because many people are saying that Elon Musk really did that in order to send the price up so that he could sell. And yeah. So it seems like a good ploy. He's also speaking about Dogecoin, and that is also on the rise. So there are a lot of things, as you were saying, we would look at the oil coins as investment tools to really hedge against the inflation that we're experiencing right now.
Yep, so absolutely.
It pays to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And to add to that, opportunities. Most people ask when to buy Bitcoin. Sometimes they have the trading software, they have little trading experience. But one of the fundamental rule, anytime you have a lot of people saying Bitcoin is a bubble, sell the Bitcoin and bring the whole hype like it's going to crash, and all the different propaganda all on the internet, on the papers, on the news and stuff like that, that is the time you want to be looking out to buy. Because you always throw fear and still fear into the normal retailers to sell whatever little they have and then buy it. I remember what year it was with JP Morgan and a couple others said Bitcoin is a bubble, it's going to burst, it's that, it's this and that. Bitcoin went straight down to about 3,000. And then lo and behold, on the back end, you're hearing that JP Morgan also bought Bitcoin. A lot of people bought Bitcoin, and now it's back up now to $48,000. Yep. So it's a next way to look at when to buy opportunities.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the topics that we had today. Never waste a good crisis. So, but
yeah,
knowing what to do in the face of the crisis is very important, and we are going through that right now. But as you say, Jason, people are making millions of dollars inside of this crisis. It's just because they see the future and they jump on and they're taking full advantage of it. The problem that we're experiencing is that a lot of us just don't have the capital to take the opportunity as we should. So we'll get a little thing, but literally we wouldn't get the amount we're supposed to get because we just don't have the wherewithal to get it done. I know, you
That
know,
point
so
there, Mr. Ivan, that the crisis and recession, and I always learned that there's no crisis or there's no recession. There's a transfer of wealth.
well,
That's all it is, a transfer of wealth. And it's either you transfer with it or you miss out with it.
yeah, so true. I think Michelle had a comment to make.
Yeah, good night, everyone. I hope you all are hearing me. Ivan, you hearing
Yeah.
me clearly?
Okay.
I just wanted to reiterate, I was so enthused with the 5-jar concept. What I wanted to highlight and just make it more known is that Jason showed much discipline. He showed that he developed a discipline when he made the comment. When I look at my 5 jars and I look at my spending jar, I could not afford something because it just wasn't possible. That's a really great discipline to develop, where we stick with our jars. Don't take from the savings, don't take from this, don't take to do something else. And I felt that was so amazing to see that people can actually develop discipline. They can discipline themselves to the point that they follow what they started in having the 5-jar. And you mentioned, Ivan, and he also mentioned it, that this is what OneAcademy is about having people apply knowledge, make it. And it's ironic you all are talking about when the bubble is happening and when people saying putting fear for the cryptocurrency where Bitcoin is concerned. Well, there are many things that would be put in fear with us too, with OneAcademy and One Life. When you look at it, maybe this is the time that you need to look seriously and position yourself by telling more people about OneAcademy and about the One Forex and about every other part of the ecosystem, because it all works. When you heard Jason speak, you would see that in our ecosystem we have trading, we have investment, we have charity, we have the education, we have every element of an ecosystem. So it's something we need to really position ourselves and not give up, push forward. So I just wanted to highlight that. Jason, really good presentation. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michelle. Of course, that is the other co-captain of the OneAcademy, One Forex Global team. And we're going to take this thing really seriously and add a lot of value to our members, because the proof of the pudding is actually in the learning and applying, not just one. There must be 2 elements that comes together so that people will benefit fully from what is available. And I'm so glad that we brought Jason on board, because we were speaking about actually doing this whole situation for like probably a year, until we decided let's implement, and it worked, and it is working still. And we encourage each and every one of you here to look at it seriously, look at what the OneAcademy is giving, and apply it to your own lives. It will help you. So having said that, if there
Ivan, yeah, before you go, right, Jason, I just want to ask you one question, right? In the light of the statements that were made by the Minister of Finance in government here in Trinidad and Tobago, he painted a bleak picture as far as our economy is concerned, having gone into the stabilization fund, Heritage and Stabilization Fund, and we heard Mr. Brown, criticizing, giving his own analysis as to what is going on within our country. And they really painted a bleak picture. If you were in a position to be an advisor to the Prime Minister, how will you advise him in the light of the given scenarios? And what will you tell people within this community? How best can we participate? How best can we get involved to make some changes that this knowledge that we have here can get out to more people? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Noel. But with the Prime Minister part. But You know,
I
a
didn't
few,
hear you. Just repeat. I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
I said they put me on the spot concerning the prime minister partner. But it's just a joke, basically. I'm just
All right. Okay.
So when it comes, I remember it was how long ago? It was maybe a month. No, last year September. Yes, last year September we did the advanced class and we looked through the economy and we was looking at some of the different countries because the advanced class is really a micro type of class. And right there, I saw Trinidad interest rate was about over 5.6%, and that is on their dollar. And the US was about 0.25. And I was telling the class, could you tell me why the interest rate is so high on Trinidad dollar? And they was like, well, we're not sure. And then I went down to Venezuela, and Venezuela interest rate was over 36%. High interest rates return on their dollar. And from there, I said, we are heading in a direction. You have many countries like Australia, big countries like the Great Britain, New Zealand. You have Canada. Their interest rate is like 0.26, 0.27, 0.75, nothing much than over $1. And most economy use the interest rates to attract investors, and that is considering the bonds and the yields and stuff like that. And I remember there was, I think it was maybe 2 years or 3 years ago, when it was one of the news reporter went to Venezuela. No Venezuelans was in Trinidad as yet. And it had long lines going to the grocery stores, long lines. And it was, I think it was Akash Samaru who actually went across, and he issued in long lines, and they have to go every single day to actually get some type of food from the grocery. And we just look at it and say, okay, cool. Now today, it's so bad, they are here crossing those dangerous seas to come across here because the economy has went down. And over that time, the interest rates on their dollar was increasing every single time, over year after year after year. Now, in our country, I look at the trade balance because the trade balance is very important. You export and you import. And if you are importing more than exporting, we have a problem. Once the trade balance is off, then we have an issue with our interest rates, we have an issue with our inflation, and then we have a crisis eventually. So right now, I really cannot advise the Prime Minister because I don't know what turn they will make. The first advice I'll ask, or I actually want to see, is that our exports, we need to have exports. What are we exporting? How are we actually receiving US currency? And the news again, they said that most of the companies are not accepting TT dollars again. That's the next problem. I went through the groceries, I went price mart a couple of times, and I said like, simple basic stuff where it always was there is not there again. It's just not there again. And Trinidad is heading in a direction. And we do not have exports. I mean, oil is going up a little bit right now, but the export is very low. We are importing everything. Hence, the Prime Minister trying to get everyone to homegrown their food so we can cut down on that bill. It's really sad right now because the amount of job losses it have, the tax, the income tax. I heard Michelle mention that they're sending home people, but the income tax now, that my job, I used to have revenue for the country. I am going home, I have no income tax again to pay. Many other people who lost jobs don't have income tax. So they lost roughly about how much millions of dollars on income tax thus far. And it's going to get worse. It will just continue to get worse. And you may not see it now, but next 5 years, we could be in a position where we are jumping on a boat to head to our next country. It could get like that very quickly. And God forbid, I hope that do ever happen, but something drastically have to make happen now. Otherwise, very easily we could actually end up in that position. And I tell some of my friends, I met one of the Spanish guys that he was a magistrate, and he talked a little English and stuff, and he said he's a magistrate in Venezuela. I was like, what are you doing down here? They lock up their homes, close their homes. shut down their car, cover it, take whatever documents, jump on a boat and cross the brook. I said, come to Trinidad. I said, well, why did that? He said, if I stay, I would die. But I have a chance, 50-50 chance, if I come here, I may live. He, his wife, and 2 girls. And he's working as a security officer in the mall. And I was like, wow. But it didn't start just like that. Venezuela didn't reach like that just so. And Trinidad is heading on a place, and I'm looking at the interest rate. Check the interest rate of your dollar, and it's keep on increasing. Once it's increasing over and over and over, we have a problem. We are trying to attract investors. That's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to raise it as high as possible so investors could actually buy into our dollar. So that's it really there, Mr. Noel.
Wow, 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 wow. A bleak picture indeed. So,
Yeah, but it is.
fellow,
But Noel, I know it is honest.
yeah,
Many times we don't want to hear the real facts because we just don't
yes,
want to really envision something like that happening. But it could happen.
yeah,
And you know, as Warren Buffett said, that if you were born poor, that is not your fault. But if you die poor, that is your fault. And what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago is that they are seeing things that is coming and not doing anything about it. So if we reach to this position in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then it is totally our fault. Because many times the government were told to diversify the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, go more
since
into
2000, since 2015,
yeah,
the changes should have been made. Yeah,
and that could have been done because if you are we going to get maybe a little too political here, but if you could quickly change laws right now to facilitate the Financial Act and get people's money in quickly, then you could have done that 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So
years
there's no
ago.
excuse. What happened is that it is not expedient to them to get these things done. And again, we will reach a stage, and I have to say it here on this thing, and that is why we empower you to take control of your own life. Do not depend on any government, do not depend on anybody else for your survival. You see what that magistrate from Venezuela had to do? He literally had to come over here in order to survive. You can see any magistrate in Trinidad and Tobago hopping on a boat and crossing to go somewhere else. You picture that. Picture that. Right? So, it is what it is.
Let's wake up, people.
So
Let's shake up. We have to move.
we have
To
to
do something. You know, so
yeah.
fellow OneAcademites, all of you who are IMAs in this wonderful network, you know, we have to take personal responsibility, as Ivan is saying, and Mr. Bramble, right? We have to really, really get up and do something. Share this call with your friends, your families. Share it privately in your homes, in your workplace. Get people on this call. Let's grow the network bigger and bigger. We have a good project, notwithstanding all the challenges and so on. Even in England, I've heard this morning on the BBC, great changes taking place where now Amsterdam is now becoming, you know, the financial center, and they're into cryptocurrency, they're into blockchain technology, they're into fintech. You know, so this thing is going on all across the world. So we have to do our parts here as OneAcademites and get, you know, just get with the program.
And before you end, Noel, I
Yeah.
want to also tell people that we have the 3 days of the next recession, and that will give you some tips on exactly what to do, what to look out for, and what to do in order to capitalize on it. That is a very, very important piece of information you're supposed to have. Once you are working, once you are paying your taxes, and once you have a family, that is an important piece of document that you need to have in your arsenal. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight that because we have it available, of course, as part of the OneAcademy. So again, thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah, we are just a little over our time. So we want to thank everyone for coming on the call, for participating.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes. We hope to have a little more participation from the other attendees, right? the next time we have this call, we're going to open up to get some feedback from them as well. So that's been a wonderful call. Look forward to seeing you again on Monday or one live presentation. Bring a friend along with you. Continue to have a good night and a good week and weekend. God's richest blessing. Thank you very much. One's out.
Good night, everyone. One's out.
Good night, all.